Kristaps is going to come back, but you can't expect him to play a ton of time, a ton of games. I'm going to guess he's not going to play back-to-backs. He is, however, on an expiring contract, so he frees up some money for the Warriors moving forward, who had to move on from Kuminga. And I think, like, if he can play, it's the kind of center that they could really use, because you can play him inside and out. He protects the rim. A few years ago, or even just when he plays this season, right? He's a really good player. It's just about the availability, his health, and whether or not he can get right. But on paper, he would be a nice fit for Golden State. And if it doesn't work out, you say thank you and goodbye.
So does this make them a better team at the moment, moving on from Kuminga and Buddy Hield, he was another up and down experiment for different reasons?
Yeah, Buddy Hield, it depends on the night, right? Like last night he played really well, but they ended up losing. So he had been a useful piece for them at times, but Buddy Hield, his best days are behind him, despite the fact that he's one of the best shooters of his era. So this is just one of those things where you go, we had to move on.
All right, if you just saw that clip, you heard the absolute key phrase about this entire Warriors-Hawks trade. This is basically a dice roll. And that's the most honest, brutal assessment you can give. Let's unpack this. The Golden State Warriors, a franchise that's been chasing another superstar to pair with Steph Curry, just had to settle. They swung for the fences for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they missed. According to the reporting, they made a pick-heavy offer, but came to the realization the Bucks weren't moving him. So what do you do when Plan A spectacularly fails? You pivot to a high-risk, high-reward Plan Z. That's Kristaps Porzingis. The analyst in that clip nailed it. Porzingis has a dusting of Anthony Davis to him. And he's not talking about the all-NBA talent. He's talking about the availability issues. That is the entire story. Porzingis, when he plays, is a phenomenal fit. A 7'3" floor spacer who can protect the rim. That's the exact archetype of center the Warriors have needed for years. On paper, next to Draymond Green, he's perfect. He's a better shooting, more mobile version of what Brook Lopez was for Giannis in Milwaukee. But when he plays, is doing so much heavy lifting. He's only played 17 games this season. He's dealing with Achilles tendonitis. The Hawks, tellingly, traded for Jock Landale earlier today, which the analyst points out as a major red flag, a sign Atlanta didn't think Porzingis would play again this year. So the Warriors just traded a disgruntled but highly talented 23-year-old in Jonathan Kuminga for a player who might not even suit up for them. This isn't a basketball trade. This is a cap management and desperation hedge. They had to move Kuminga, who had publicly asked out. Buddy Hield was a streaky aging piece. In return, they get an expiring contract, Porzingis, and a prayer. If he gets healthy, maybe they sneak into the playoffs and look somewhat competent. If he doesn't, his $36 million comes off the books this summer, giving them some financial flexibility to try this whole get-a-star thing again in the offseason. But let's be clear, trading Kuminga for what is essentially a lottery ticket is a massive concession. It's the Warriors' front office admitting their development program failed with a top 7 pick, and that their championship window, as currently constructed, is being held together by hope and Steph Curry's brilliance. And we can't ignore the other disaster unfolding in that clip. Look at the Chicago Bulls. The analyst's frustration is palpable. The Bulls are the kings of waiting too long to do things. They just traded Kobe White, a young, starting-caliber point guard on a good contract for Colin Sexton, an expiring deal, and some second-round picks. That's terrible value. They waited too long on Alex Caruso, on DeMar DeRozan, on Zach LaVine, and now on Kobe White. It's a masterclass in how not to manage assets. While the Warriors are making a risky gamble, the Bulls are just setting money on fire for no return. So here's the big picture takeaway from this minute of analysis. The NBA trade deadline creates two kinds of losers. There are the aggressive losers, like the Warriors, who miss on their top target and are forced into a risky, suboptimal move just to feel like they did something. And there are the passive losers, like the Bulls, who through sheer indecision and poor timing consistently get 50 cents on the dollar for their assets. The Warriors' move isn't about winning the trade. It's about trying not to lose the season entirely. But by giving up on Kuminga for an injury-prone Porzingis, they may have just lost the future too. What's your grade for the Warriors on this trade? A necessary gamble or a full-blown panic move? And are the Bulls officially the worst-run franchise in the league? Let me know in the comments.